Welcome to Beyond the Bar, a podcast where justice meets recovery. I'm your host, Devin Anderson. I'm a person in long-term recovery who has also been involved and working in the criminal justice system for a long time as well. I think I'm coming up on 30 years. I started out as a prosecutor, then a judge, then a defense attorney, then the elected DA, and now I'm happy running a nonprofit in Houston, Texas called Justice Forward. And I have been talking to people who are justice involved, who have made remarkable transformations in their lives thanks to different programs in the community, mostly treatment courts. And that's what Justice Forward does, is that we help people who are going through the treatment courts and who have graduated from them. And today I have someone I've known for a long time named Sharon Hadley join me today. And let me tell you, I was trying to figure out who to ask on the program, and I was talking to Mary Covington, who's come up a lot when I've talked about, she's come up a lot because she was involved in treatment courts forever in Houston, and now she's retired from Harris County, but she works for Justice Forward as our program director. And I said, what about Sharon Hadley? And she said, she'd be great. She's the happiest person I know in recovery. Is that true, Sharon?
Yes, well, I realized in recovery that happiness is a choice, and so I choose happiness, and I've learned how to focus on, the joy that's there.
Because there is joy every day, isn't there?
Every day, it's a choice. Which one am I going to choose to focus on?
That's right. Because it's good and bad every single day, and it is all a matter of perspective. It's taken me, 59 years to figure that out.
You're right on time.
Yeah, so it's good, right? This is supposed to be the good time of life coming up, right? So how long have you been sober?
13 years in July.
Amazing.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That is great. And kind of talk about the ways your life has been better because of being sober.
How much time do we have? It's astounding. When I think back about, being snatched out of the jaws of death and restored to sanity, and then now getting better than life was, before, but better, more than my wildest dreams could have imagined. I got goosebumps.
Yeah, I did too.
And this, I always had a burning, desire to help or purpose. I knew I had some kind of purpose, but I didn't know what it was. And now I know. I know exactly. All of that time was job training.
Right.
Yes. So now I'm a recovery coach. So it's a wonderful job, but boy, howdy, that job training.
No kidding. Yeah, I probably could do without that. It'd be better if there's
but no, they go together. Yes.
That's right. That is one of our favorite things at Justice Forward to encourage graduates to do, because it is invaluable to any program to have a peer recovery coach. I mean, to have someone who's walked the walk. A lot of clients, people who are on the edge, won't listen. They're not going to listen to the judge. They're not going to listen to their lawyers. They're going to listen to you, somebody like you. And I'm sure you've saved countless lives.
Well, because we're listening to them. We're pulling out their strings and their solutions. They're the expert on themselves. I'm just helping them to develop their own, create the life they've been craving for themselves all this time, and walk side by side with them as they discover how to do that and make the mistakes and readjust with no judgment, just loving support and cheering them on. Recovery coaching is restorative justice. I have 14 felonies. I recidivated 13 times and just piling on felonies. And, this is a vehicle for people who have substance use disorder and, subsequent criminal justice involvement as a direct result of my disease to re-enter as a successful citizen, to become a tax-paying, volunteering asset to my community.
Right.
to stand on my own feet and be able to pay my own way. With all of those felonies, I thought it's over for me. No matter what, it's over for me.
Who's going to hire me?
Yes, yes. But recovery coaching, they came all the way into the prison where I was to give me the hope and courage to try change, and then to support me back into the community, connecting me with resources to build my recovery capital into a life of self-direction.
I want to talk about that and I want to talk about your journey and how I would love to hear more about them coming into the prison. But right there, you just said recovery capital. And that is a concept I was unfamiliar with until very recently. And it makes so much sense. Can you kind of describe it?
Yes.
Not kind of. Probably can describe it.
It's the internal and external resources that a person can bring to bear on initiating and sustaining long-term recovery. So there's human capital, that's my strengths and abilities, education and job experience, and having hope. And previously, before all this happened, some people have never had that. Hope is a tremendous recovery capital. Then having social support, the social recovery capital and physical. Do I have the money to engage in the activities that I want to? Do I have the clothes to engage in the activities I want to? Do I have a safe shelter, health insurance, transportation? There's a lot of things that, social workers would call social determinants of health. Recovery capital.
Right, recovery capital. And that's what we have now shifted our focus to Justice Forward to try to emphasize that for people in the courts and coming out of the courts, not recognizing that if you don't have a safe place to stay, you can't finish the program. And if you have finished it, how are you going to have meaningful employment if you don't have a place to stay? Help them get employment, help them get mentally right if they need trauma counseling, college, GED, whatever it is. We help with all of that, and criminal history cleanup. If you can do that and you're eligible, that can make a big difference as well. So exactly.
So amazing.
We have our focus on the long-term recovery, not just graduating from the program.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I have witnessed that as a recovery coach, the ongoing support, which is, how I know Mary Covington is, how many people did Amelia and I train as recovery coaches because she brought them in there, and just seeing all in the community. And, once a drug court graduate, you're a lifer.
Yes.
They are tight. They support each other for, forever.
They do. They do.
The bond is amazing between, the cohorts.
Right. I love that too. Because you need a community to stay sober. That's a critical piece, is to have that. So where are you working now? Where are you coaching now?
I am at Avenue 360 Health and Wellness. We're a federally qualified health clinic. So I get to do the full expression of recovery coaching, which means to allow someone, I can meet them right where they're at in their journey to health and wellness in the doctor's office. Imagine that, addressing their health concern in the doctor's office, with no stigma. We get to screen all of our patients for their substance use. And if they're using something in a way that could affect their health detrimentally, then we have a brief intervention and just talk to them and see if they'd like to set a goal and get some support in reaching that goal. We also have intensive outpatient. So we work with a lot of probation officers and clients to help them to be successcul in completing that goal.
That's great. And you're such a good representative for them.
Thank you.
You are. They're lucky to have you. I know that because I've seen you forever at different things. I've seen you at graduations. Where did you work before Avenue 360?
I worked here. I started here actually. Yesterday was 8 years ago that I started here.
And here is the Council on Recovery in Houston, where we office. Justice Forward office is here, and it's where we're shooing
yes,
today.
I'm
That's
sorry
so
I
cool.
didn't make that clear.
We should have had the interview yesterday because it would have been exactly 8 years.
I was surprised.
Amazing.
I was like, oh, how fortunate. And they stationed me full time at Avenue 360. So I kind of been at Avenue 360 since 2018, but not as a direct employee. before that, Santa Maria Hostel.
Nice.
They're the ones who had the Department of Justice grant for Path to Recovery that allowed them to come right into the prison and give us the hope and courage to change, to cite us that, we have a future, and they were going to help us get it, after, just the hopelessness getting worse and worse to where, it was just over for me. There's no way that you could come back from, the harm that I've done. And I didn't have the first clue about how you would do that. Mm-hmm. So I was just, the pain of that hopelessness is indescribable. And all recovery springs forth from hope. Right. So they brought hope, the first hope.
I love that. So Santa Maria has come up in this podcast many, many times as one of the best places in Houston for women and women with children to go, because they have the Cradles program. And I don't know, I think I've sat across 2 or 3 women who had some contact with Santa Maria since I started this podcast. But let's go ahead and kind of dive back, because I don't know your background at all. I mean, kind of a fun fact, I guess, for people watching is that I like to not know the story because it makes me ask better questions, because I'm actually I'm really listening. I mean, I always listen, but I'm really listening. And I just like to hear, this is one of the things I just love. It helps my sobriety so much. So I don't know where you grew up. I don't know anything about your childhood at all.
I was born in Houston in the same hospital that both of my parents were born in, St. Joseph's.
I was born here.
There you go. Yeah. So my family, my grandparents started an ice house beer joint in Northside on Fulton Street in 1959, before I was born. And then my mother, took it over. My grandfather died of alcoholism. My mother took it over. And so it was like living in a small town in this big city. And I thought I knew what alcoholism looked like because I had been in that bar all the time. I didn't. It's astonishing to me, Devin, that people don't know that this isn't common knowledge, that alcoholism is when you lose the power to control the amount you drink. You can't predict or control regularly the amount you're going to drink. And then you've lost the power to choose whether or not you're going to drink, no matter how badly you say, I'm never doing that again. Mm-hmm. You find yourself doing it again. Those are the two things.
Right.
And so I diverted a little bit.
That's okay.
There.
No, that's very well put.
Yeah, thank you. And my father was an alcoholic, and he completed suicide when I was 18. So, and he told me it was hereditary. So I thought, well, I'm going to be very careful, Yes. And so before I took a drink in college, I mean, I had had a drink many years before, but now I'm making a choice to drink. I thought, I'm going to call Alcoholics Anonymous and ask them, how do you know if you're an alcoholic? And they said, well, if you're making this call, you probably, and that wasn't helpful to me because I hadn't had a drink yet,
Right.
So it's it's kind of funny now, but it's really not funny at all.
Yeah, they missed the boat completely.
They had an opportunity to carry that message so that someone can identify of whether or not this.
Well, wait. How was was it your mother's parents? You said who opened the ice house?
Yes.
Was she a drinker?
My mother. No, she was a gambler.
A gambler.
So addiction is rampant in every arm.
Wow, both sides. You got a double dose.
I did. Yes, both sides.
And then where'd you go to college?
Well, I graduated from University of Houston. I went to a couple, but I finished up at University of Houston with a Bachelor of Fine Arts.
Okay.
And just by the skin of my teeth. The wheels had started to really wobble there the last couple of years. But I had done very well before that. But there were several traumatic events that happened in these few years that really changed the trajectory. And and at the time, I thought I was choosing to drink more heavily. Like, this is, I don't know how to deal with this, and so I'm going to drink. Like, thinking that I would know how to deal with it better later, then, it's like, okay, well, it's time to straighten up.
Right.
All right, I'm gonna get back on track. And it couldn't. That's when, it hit me. Oh my gosh, because nothing had ever gotten on top of me before. I was very well able. I had all the hopes for the world was my oyster. I was gonna, be successful and, grow to great heights. And then I couldn't. And, it was, it was just hard.
Did you finish school in 4 years?
Oh, no. It took 10 years.
10 years, okay.
My mom and my dad died my first year of college.
Oh, my gosh.
And then my grandmother died. And then my husband and I were the victims of a home invasion where he was shot. And, and the trauma of that.
God.
It was a miracle. It just slipped right between his skin and his skull. And, it's instead of being able to focus on the miracle of that,
Right.
the trauma was just too much for our marriage. And so our marriage fell apart. So then I got on a birth control shot since I'm single. Well, one of the side effects of that is depression. Which I thought about, and I thought, I had felt like I was too happy sometimes. I should have taken this a little more hard. Thought I'll probably be okay. Well, the shot lasts 3 months, but the depression lasted about 7 years.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So, what really lifted my spirits was cocaine. I didn't have any parents or anyone to guide me into medical care or support or anything,
Right.
And then this cocaine became available, and it honestly did lift my spirits.
How did it become available?
Well, in the beer joint that was my family's. After my mom and dad died, my brother and I took it over, and then eventually I turned the whole thing over to him. But yes, so the customers had their own little, it was a drug spot.
Yeah.
Just a walk in and walk out. It was crazy and frustrating for me to see my family's business,
Right.
But
So this was through your 20s we're talking about?
yes.
Wow. That's a lot of loss.
It really was.
A lot of change.
But I did graduate,
Yeah.
through it all.
That's good. That's
yes.
amazing, actually.
Yes. So, and I graduated with a 3.5. And I was like, I'm the most educated hoe on the stroll.
Okay, wait. You jumped because now you're talking about a hoe on the stroll. I'm like, wait a minute.
Whoa.
What did we back
How
up
did you
there?
go from the highest at what?
Yeah.
Exactly. There's the rub.
Right, right.
To graduate and to have so high hopes for my future, and just have everything falling to pieces at that time where, this book I read says, and our troubles piled up on us and became astonishingly difficult to solve. And that was my experience exactly, that I had seemed so well able before, and now I just can't put it together. And then the fear is just mounting and mounting, which you know what helps with that? A drink. Drink.
Yeah.
And so it just got exponentially worse. And then somebody suggested that I go from cocaine to crack. If this is not my nose, Devin, okay, this is a reconstructed nose. As bad as it is, this is fixed. So, they were like, oh my God, they were begging me, stop doing cocaine. And
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and so, yes, I started smoking crack. Yes.
Wow.
And then that's when I started, turning to prostitution to, fund my drug habit. and and just bracked on. It's funny, when you ask God to take this away, boom, he puts you in jail. So I can't tell you how many people have had that experience, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's not the help I was looking for.
Right.
But he said, oh no, and he kept putting me in timeout, 14 times. Like, no, you're gonna.
Prostitution charges?
6.
And
Drug 8 and prostitution 6. So 3 of those were felonies, and
3 of the prostitution
were felonies.
Yeah. In
And
Texas,
then I
that's
think
the
5
third is a
possession
felony.
to make 8 felonies altogether.
What was the most time you ever did?
Just 10 months.
Yeah, see, it's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, that's...
Yeah, and the thing is, Devin...
That didn't solve anything. 10 months that...
Yeah. I was detoxed every single time I was arrested at Harris County Jail. And never once did someone say, this person is sick. She has a brain disease that's trying to kill her.
When you say detox, you mean they went, not medical. Mm-hmm. Yes, medical detox in the jail.
Mm-hmm. From
Every
alcohol.
time.
Yeah.
From alcohol.
Yes. And
never got referred to treatment.
never. No.
And can you tell me the years of this period?
This started in 2001 and went to 2011.
There's just no excuse for that.
Yeah. Drug court had just begun, I think.
Yeah, you're right.
I had heard,
2003.
don't go there.
Yeah, that's the irony.
I know. Yes, the only thing. I mean, no one offered me that. No one talked to me about it. I just heard the inmates say, oh, that's awful.
Yeah, your lawyer should have. The prosecutor should have noticed it. The judge should have noticed it. The probation officer, everybody in the court should have noticed your record, what you were doing.
Yeah. There's obviously, you can see. Well, thank God for the reform that's happened in, these years, these 13 years since. The fact that we have a sobering center now.
Yes.
Where, how many times someone, I may have been, taken there instead of putting all the way through the system.
Right.
And just taken there and, introduced to recovery. I'd never even heard the word recovery.
Right.
I didn't know until Amelia Murphy and Cynthia Branch and Kathy Griffin, they came in like the Charlie's Angels into the prison, and said recovery. And I was like, what? I want that. They made it so attractive.
I bet those
exciting.
3 did.
Yes.
Those are 3 remarkable women. Cynthia works here now still.
Yes.
Amelia works with you at 360. And
Kathy has her own
Kathy
program.
is,
we've been
a whole
there,
different
done that.
matter. Yeah,
Yes.
I need to get her on here. Yeah.
Oh, yes. I think she might be the first graduate, the first graduating class.
Yes, of drug court. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
She's I will say she's got a program to help prostitutes, people who have prostituted and have addiction issues. She's helped so many women, mostly, I think.
Yeah. My experience is that, once the substance use disorder was addressed, I haven't had any issues or desires to, prostitute or speed or, I have absolutely no criminal justice involvement, period, or criminal behavior since.
That doesn't surprise me. The whole motivation for your crimes was your disease.
Yes. So, it's a heavy price to pay to not be able to access health care for my health condition, which I didn't even realize because it's a brain disease, you know.
And it's genetic and clearly, and then to be raised in a bar, basically. I mean, the die was cast, unfortunately.
So the work that you're doing is very close to my heart. That, y'all are now, the whole system, I'm going to say y'all, are now being able to look at a record like that and say, this woman needs some help. What can we do to help her? How can we support her till she can build her own recovery capital and stand on her own 2 feet?
Because you were jailed 13 times, right?
14 times,
And never got sober.
No.
Right there, you're the case. Your state's Exhibit 1 for why we need treatment courts.
The last time was the first time that they offered 20% off of your sentence if you did something extracurricular. So I joined a program called Turning Point. I wasn't trying to change anything but my outdate. I was trying to get to the liquor store 20% faster, But while I wasn't looking, it started working, I participated, in an honest and earnest way. And the change started to become, but then I was even more frightened because how am I going to do this?
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when the Charlie's Angels, come in with this path to recovery, say, I'm going to help you. I said, man, I am coming with you. And I grabbed onto them. Anything they said do, I did. I went straight from the prison to their office, and said, what do I do now?
So when you got to Santa Maria, what did they do? How did they help you?
Well, the first thing is that I asked for inpatient treatment. I said, I need some help. And the admissions director at that time said, no. You've been sober for 10 months. No one's going to admit you. That's how it was back then, And so, so I went and did some dope.
God, dog.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Insanity.
They said, why did, I said, because you told me I couldn't get in.
Not you doing it. I mean, them not letting you in.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, to be a recovery professional and to think that 10 months of incarceration would do anything to treat a substance use disorder is,
and you know what? Explain that concept, because I don't think a lot of people normies don't understand what you just said. They're like, well, you're sober. Why? What else do you need? Just stop.
Right. Yes. And it's that does nothing to treat this brain disorder that we have. There needs to be a process of change that is introduced and encouraged and fostered, and that can help us, first of all, realize that I have a disease. I didn't know that. I thought I was just a failure. I don't know how this happened to me when I was so well able. Now I'm a complete failure, and then, which really just makes it all worse. But, it would be like, if I broke my arm and they put me in jail, it's like, okay, you heal that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You go think about that, and you better come out healed, or cancer or anything. It's a medical condition that needs medical care.
Right.
So I don't know if that was helpful.
It is. And the other part that really stands out to me when you said you didn't even realize you had a disease is that without that realization, you don't understand that you're powerless. Mm-mm. And that you have to change your entire life. Mm-hmm. And they will help you in treatment find the tools and how to do that. They're going to tell you how to do that. But without the acceptance that you have, like I do, mm-hmm. that I can't drink like a normal person, that's a big realization.
Absolutely.
And you don't learn it by yourself just out of the blue.
To find that I'm not a bad person trying to learn how to be good. I'm a sick person trying to learn how to be well.
My God, I love that.
Yeah, it changed everything. The weight that was off of me so that I could focus on what they were telling me instead of the self, punishment that just was nonstop before. Like, just opening up to the possibilities, as they came into the prison and this, hope burst forth, and then it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And, and it continues today for my life to get, open up to a wider place. It's such an exciting journey. I recently was awarded Peer Support Specialist of the Year by the Texas Association of Addiction Professionals.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It was very exciting. But I was so happy to have both Amelia Murphy and Cynthia Branch in the audience and to have them stand up and be recognized.
Oh, that's lovely.
That meant everything to me.
Full circle.
Yeah.
So what advice do you have for someone who doesn't know where to turn, doesn't know what to do, but maybe has started to realize their use is affecting their lives in a negative way and they need to take care of it?
Well, I would, call Avenue 360 and, they can connect you to the recovery department, or you can get an appointment with eligibility just to begin the services, the full thing of services. And you can get an assessment with us and then determine what level of service that you need. And all people who get Avenue 360 services have recovery coaching available to them at no extra cost.
That's great.
So, you can start right there with the coach with, I think I might want to do something about this. Tell me more about that. It's not, it doesn't have to be an abrupt change. We'll walk with you through the process of change.
Because it is scary. Change is scary.
It is
And taking care of, I remember when I finally quit drinking, I cried like I had lost a child. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was
it's
just,
a
I was mourning.
process.
Yes. And yes, you need
Kind of a death of self.
It is. It is. So it's good. So call, it's just a phone call. And the Council on Recovery. Those two great resources for this. So how have you stayed sober? What would you recommend for somebody who has, the holidays are coming up. That's a tough time. Just in general, some days I still think about drinking, 16 years later. It doesn't go away.
Yeah. The first thing I did was I made a decision to do whatever was suggested to me by the people God had put in my life for direction and protection. I thought, I'm not going to wait. Should I? Shouldn't I? What are the pros and cons? Just do it, So, and then it's through experiential, knowledge that I found what works for me. None of it was a waste of time, And I got into a fellowship of recovery that has clear-cut directions of exactly what to do to recover, which I like. Millions of people have recovered using these directions all over the world, and it's a worldwide fellowship. I could go anywhere and find my people. That gives me goosebumps again. And so following those directions and continuing to carry the message of recovery, my job is not my recovery. Some people get that confused. They're a recovery coach. It's like saying, look at my beautiful tool. See how shiny it is, and this is what you use it for. But I haven't actually taken it down off the wall and chopped some wood with it in a while personally. So I've got to chop wood and carry water myself. So after working as a recovery coach all day, I go, be of service in my recovery community. Carry the message to what we call wind-up joints, where we wind up. Jails.
Wind-up joints. I didn't know what that...
Treatment centers, hospitals.
That's true. That came up in the last podcast, which was that just because you're working in recovery doesn't mean you're working on your recovery. And you have to do both.
Yes, it's very dangerous.
Yes.
To follow into that thinking.
Well, I tell you, this has flown by. I understand why you won the award. You have such a depth of understanding about yourself and your program and your role now. And it was just delightful. I learned so much, and I thank you so much. You've got to be the happiest guest we've had. Pretty sure. I think so. So thank you very much, Sharon. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much for the opportunity and more the work that you've done to reform criminal justice.
Thank you very much. And thank y'all for listening. I say it every time. You don't have to do this alone. There are a million resources wherever you're listening to this. If you're in New York or China or wherever, there are people who are out there who want to help you recover. And if you have any questions about Justice Forward, our website is justiceforwardtx.org. And you can email me at beyondthebartx@gmail.com. You can message us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. It's where all of this is where we post these. and would love some feedback. But anyway, take care, and I guess we'll see you in the next episode.